from the grassroots, connecting people and sharing ideas.
Hi, this is Arlene.
Hi, this is Gowri.
And you are listening to Durian ASEAN's ASEAN Breakfast Call for our second segment, which is the Blast from the Grassroots. And today we have three guests. All three of them are from the ASEAN Youth Volunteer Program. They are going to talk about ASEAN identity. Welcome to the studio.
Hi, good morning.
Hi,
Mabuhay.
good morning. Good morning.
Hi.
So which one of you is actually non-Malaysian?
I am Regine from the Philippines.
Yay!
So we have a very, very diverse community in here in the studio itself.
Very, very diverse. And both of you, where are you from?
I'm from Malaysia, of course.
Which part of Malaysia?
I'm from Perak.
Oh, from Perak.
But working in KL, in UM, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still a student.
You're student
In UM?
in UM.
I'm student in Unimas Sarawak.
Oh, okay.
All far away from...
And
Theam. I'm from Penang, one of the UNESCO heritage.
Oh, we
I'm
have,
from Penang too.
we have a Penang person here.
Right next to you.
So, you guys are from the ASEAN Youth Volunteer Program, and you are the Secretariat Project Officer.
Yes, I am. And Tim and Jum were our facilitators for our previous program.
Mm-hmm. So when did you started to station in Kuala Lumpur here?
My contract here started last year, but previously I was an independent volunteer around Southeast Asia. So yeah, like my passion has always been volunteerism in the region.
Mm-hmm.
Go volunteer.
So before we talk about volunteerism, first question: what is ASEAN Youth Volunteer Program? Is it under ASEAN Secretariat?
Program, it's a collaborative effort between the ASEAN Secretariat, the Malaysia Ministry of Youth and Sports, Ministry of Education, USAID, and UKM. But UKM is the Secretariat, so our office is in Bangi.
Oh,
Far,
that's
far
far away from civilization. I thought it's in Kuala Lumpur.
And then our program runs in different countries every year. So this year it was in Malaysia for the ASEAN Youth Heritage Leaders, which you interviewed previously. And then next year will be in Cambodia.
So both of you, what is your job exactly as the facilitators? I hope you are not going to answer. We do nothing.
No, we are the middleman between the volunteer and the secretariat.
The middleman.
So, yeah. So we try to distribute to disseminate any information which from the secretariat to the volunteer itself, and try to help the volunteer if they have any questions.
Yeah, assisting the participant
Yeah.
and volunteer.
Since it's called ASEAN Youth Volunteer Program, so do you have members or headquarters all over Southeast Asia?
Not exactly, but we work with different partners. Like next year in Cambodia, we'll be working with the Royal University of Phnom Penh. And then the year after that, we'll be working with universities in the Philippines. So, yes. We call it the AYVP multiplier effect. So we try to reach out to different partners and spread the ASEAN message, ASEAN love.
Yeah.
And how do you encourage people to volunteer? Because a lot of people are not so keen on volunteering these days, I assume, because they prefer a stable job. And also, how do you encourage more people to get into volunteerism?
Well, one aspect of it is our 5-week program. So this runs every year. But apart from that, I think one of the beautiful things about our program is the multiplier effect. Like after the program, as you've probably heard, the volunteers are supposed to implement their own projects in their respective countries. So this is like an opportunity for other youth who don't get into the program to actually be involved and volunteer for these projects that are happening all around the region. And it doesn't have to be through AYVP. I think like it's one of our other objectives is to promote the spirit of volunteerism in general. And being a volunteer is something that, as the facilitators here, may share with us, that is not something that's structured, but it can be through various means. Right, Katjun?
Yeah. You can add on something. Yeah.
No, I think we're a volunteer. We need some awareness for people around the region to have some volunteerism awareness. They need some of the they need to aware that actually volunteer for some activity, some program is you can find some very fun and you can develop your own skills.
Yeah, I think it starts from the heart, because when you want to join something and you have passion, and then that's the volunteer start.
Yeah.
What kind of volunteer projects that you have done in AYPV?
Maybe Tim can share how, because we tried to make our facilitators as intercultural, interracial as possible. So Tim was with the Chinese community group, and maybe he can share like how it felt to be facilitator with the Chinese community.
All right. During the second weeks, we went to Petaling Streets. So I think 1/3 of the volunteer from this program has been assigned to try to interview those Chinese community in Petaling Streets, and they kind of they are very passionate. They try to ask as many questions to the seller, the auntie, uncles, and those sellers are very excited because
And then they are very dedicated with the task they have been given, because they have
What
to
was
do,
the task?
they have to do the food mapping.
Yes,
Documentation.
What exactly is food mapping? Sounds like interesting. Sounds like food.
No, Petaling Street is kind of so many famous for different types of Chinese foods. So, and most of them has been selling for few generations. And
Or rather, Petaling Street is
tasty.
known to be has a particular brand of tourism, selling particular things, but then it's not quite evident how the cultural heritage there is actually rich, which is why the task of the volunteers there was to document the little bit dying Chinese heritage.
So you're pretty much giving a structure to that place. Was that what it was about?
Helping capture the stories of the people.
Oh, okay.
Especially because the heritage aspect, the older generations have become more passionate about heritage aspect, conservation of culture, and the younger generations are, like interested in other things. So the idea is to help capture the stories of these people.
So do you guys publish any of these findings or stories?
Yes, the official reports we gave them to the higher ups, like the ASEAN Secretariat, the ministry, but they what do you call this? They documented their experiences through a video, which is now going viral in YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah, you can check the AYVP YouTube.
So Malaysians, I have a question for you guys. So when did you guys started to be involved in volunteerism, and also in the ASEAN aspect rather than just Malaysia's aspect?
Previously, my experience when I'm staying in Sarawak, but I'm more involved with the youth activity there. And then when I get back in West Malaysia, I'm joining last May with Malaysia International Youth Exchange, with this under Kementerian Belia and Sukan, Ministry Youth and Sports. And then from that, get attached with the other ASEAN participants, and we also get connected through the social media, which is Facebook. And then that's why I get to know about AYVP program.
Yeah, I also got to know about this program AYVP from Facebook. This is my first time joining this ASEAN program. Previously, I just joined the local community, local association for some volunteerism work. And I feel like it's kind of very different from me when after I joining this program, I got exposed to so different ASEAN identity and ASEAN diversity. And
And we do learn some ASEAN words. For example, there's a same word. For example, in Sarawak dialect, the words dog with
Aso in the Philippines.
is same with Philippines.
This is a funny one. Sayang in the Philippines means disappointment. So probably somewhere along the way, one Malay got heartbroken.
I sayang you, that means I'm disappointed.
Exactly. And we also use ako. So if you say ako sayang, it's like I'm disappointed.
Okay, new word for me.
But there are a few other words like mahal. First
mahal
is expensive, but for
both
you
Okay.
expensive and love.
And
So
love.
when
Mahal
you say
kita.
mahal, it's you're precious to me. You're expensive
right.
for me.
It's just in a different context then.
Maybe the Filipinos, they came here with the word sayang, meaning they
Exactly.
brought a
And
different
someone got
meaning.
heartbroken.
And we misused it here.
We misuse it. So, apart from language, when it comes to ASEAN identity, how do you associate yourself as being part of ASEAN? Where does the identity come from? Because as you all know, Southeast Asia is very diverse. If you are talking about Malaysia alone, we are very multicultural. But at the same time, the Malaysian identity is very much in the food, the variety of language, culture, and all that. But when it comes to ASEAN in general, how do you know you have that sense of ASEAN-ness in you?
I think we after the program we do realize that we have a lot of similarities. One of the activities of the program was we went to the National Museum, and in there was this ice age map of the region, and we saw how most of the countries were actually interconnected to each other, which probably explains why we have similar words. Also, a similar way of cooking food, like how ASEAN people like rice.
Yes.
And not only visible cultural characteristics, but also values, like how ASEAN people are generally very communal, the spirit of gotong royong. We have that in the Philippines too. We call it oh my god, I forgot.
You're from the Philippines?
Yes, we have this solidarity, community building value,
Which is
which
That's
is
okay.
wait, it's here.
We'll get back to you.
You can ask Joey. Joey is another
one of the
facilitators, and he's also the alumni for AYVP because he's a participant for last year program, which is Eco Leaders. So this year is more into heritage and
Cultural
Culture.
conservation.
conservation. Yes.
So were you guys like much exposed to ASEAN? Did you have that awareness? Did you know much about it before you joined?
Or do you have stereotypes like, okay,
Yeah.
Filipinos should look like this, they shouldn't look like this? You know, for example like that.
At first, yes, but when I get to join the previous program, Malaysia International Youth Exchange, and then I get to know more about ASEAN, and then, but it's only 2 weeks program, and then when I joined as a facilitator in AYVP for 5 weeks, and after that, I'm feeling more ASEAN. Yeah.
Before I joined this program, I think that there should be some different from the looks itself, from different people from different countries. But after I met them, I and joined them for these 5 weeks. Actually, I
I feel
think
like
that
we
they
all
are
look the same.
same. Yeah, just like
in all 10
Malaysian.
countries.
No different.
Right.
Mhm.
Those who have some darker color, I can assume they are from Indian society. And with those who are more fair in color, maybe they look like Chinese, you know.
But
I want to say Mandarin with them. I want to speak Mandarin with them, but I couldn't. But because they have some they do not know Mandarin, most of them. But actually Cambodian, they also actually most of this country they have Chinese community as well. Cambodian Chinese, Filipino Chinese.
But they don't necessarily speak the same
Yes.
language.
So
But
there
some
is
of them do
unity
learn
and
some
diversity
Chinese.
also. Like it's interesting how you see the small differences in despite how similar we are, which I think is the beautiful thing about ASEAN, because we share a lot of things, but then we can appreciate how different we are as well.
Yeah, for example, the awareness about ASEAN community itself. There's a funny moments happen. When we go to the night markets in Putrajaya,
There's a night market there.
yeah, we should
I'm
go there.
Putrajaya.
One of the participants from Vietnam, which is May, she's so like fruits, and then she's buying the fruit, and then the fruit seller asks her, "Are you from China?" "No, I'm from ASEAN." "Japan?" "No, I'm guest." And then she told, "I'm from Vietnam." And then that's how she create the awareness to the local community. Yeah.
But I mean, in reality, Malaysians do not know much about ASEAN countries,
Yeah.
Yes.
and they
That's
do.
why they say the seller say Japan or Korea.
Yeah.
Although we are ASEAN, we are from ASEAN, 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 but ASEAN, the 10 different country of ASEAN is
It's
maybe
lacking.
they do not know very
The awareness
well.
is very much lacking. So besides the awareness on the ground, what about other aspect of ASEAN identity that you either promote or you strengthen within your organization?
We focus really on ASEAN, right? Has three pillars: the political, economic, and sociocultural. We really focus on the sociocultural part through volunteerism, and I think I'd like to add to the discussion how volunteerism can actually be a good means for the youth to participate in ASEAN identity building, because it's grounded on our common value of community. And I remember the Filipino word now, bayanihan. So it's like part of our response to our responsibility it's a responsibility to our community. And not only that, it like puts the ASEAN identity to a different level, because it's not only just about learning about each other's similarities, but learning our shared problems and probably coming up with shared solutions, since we have shared histories anyway. So it just makes sense for us to have a shared future together.
But also, when we are exposed to the larger picture, which is the ASEAN identity, we are also breaking away from, for example, in Malaysia, it would be the racial politics in this country, where we do have stereotypes among each other. Do you think by having an ASEAN awareness, looking at the bigger picture, where everyone doesn't necessarily associate with a certain identity and everyone is unique on its own, would break away Malaysians from being too caught up in this racial politics?
I think it's possible, and because actually politics is more like they need more power. Actually, every country they need some political people to control the citizens, and of course we need to celebrate the ASEANness, the local, even the regional identity and diversity, the cultural diversity itself. We need to celebrate. Actually, every one of us are unique, and different country they have their own unique diversity that differentiate us from our Malaysian, from maybe Filipino, Singaporean, Thai people, or Vietnamese. So politics is
No, but carrying on from that, I think that it did do our locals well, like especially our facilitators and our Malaysian volunteers, because they were like through intercultural exchange programs such as this and realizing the ASEAN identity, they were exposed to different kinds of people, like how we found our Malaysian local volunteers actually going to brick fields in Petaling Street to study about the Chinese temples and the Hindu temples. I mean, you don't see that.
You went there.
Yeah, and you don't see that on a
Norjumawati.
daily Malaysian basis.
So was that your first time coming into the places of worship of other races?
No, because before this, I'm studying in Sarawak, which is more cultural diverse. So, I also go to other places in Sarawak, which is to the Iban House, the Bidayo Longhouse. So, it's no problem for me. It's just that I want to know more about the diversity and culture of Malaysia, and then now ASEAN, which is good for me.
I want to ask
And-
sorry, you want to add?
Yeah.
Go
Because of this program, I got opportunity to visit Masjid Jamek. I went into the mosque itself.
How
This
was
is
the
my
mosque?
first time.
Because we haven't even visited it yet.
It's an old mosque, but it's very inside itself is very. I think. What should I put the word?
Surreal.
Yeah, I think it's very sacred. And
Would you
I feel-
encourage non-Muslim to go to the mosque for a visit?
Yes.
Everyone
Why?
was in
Yeah.
different communities, like because the program tried to showcase all three major communities, so everyone had a chance to explore.
Yeah,
And
even I'm the facilitators for Petaling Street Group. I also learned how to do Tai Chi and Wushu.
Yeah, we went to Chinwu.
Athlete-
Yeah,
athlete
Chinwu
who went to Brickfields.
Association,
They
yes.
learned the sacred Indian dances at the
Yeah.
Temple of Fine Arts.
They're doing the column and the leaves waving. Yeah.
Garland making.
Yeah, the
Garland
garland making.
And in Malacca, we also went to Kampung Melayu, Kampung Bukit, Bali Bukit.
Yeah, come
Yeah,
on.
we learned the traditional games, try to help them to cook, the volunteer them. And we also even have a mock wedding.
A mock wedding?
mock
Yeah,
Malay
mock
wedding.
A
Yeah.
mock Malay
So we
wedding.
had a Vietnamese guy. Was it Vietnamese
No,
guy? And
No,
me.
Is from
I'm from
Thailand.
Oh,
Thai.
sorry, sorry. So the Thai guy and
and
Myanmar.
June from Myanmar.
girl
Yeah.
in a Malay wedding.
So is it like
Experience is
a rural concept Malay wedding where people do
Yes, in a kampung.
you cook on the ground rather than
Yes.
Yes.
do the
Exactly.
usual catering? It's very
Yes.
urban.
Yeah, some they do. They learn how to wave the ketupat, and even before this, a group of people from Malay community, the volunteer who assigned for Malay community, they learn to do the bullock cart.
Bullock cart. And
Yeah.
kompang also.
Yes.
Do you guys slaughter a cow?
No, I don't know. Go as far as that, but they did bathe the cow.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Usually in wedding feasts, they would definitely slaughter either a cow or a goat or something that is of a poultry, just to cater for the whole. I mean, this is from the rural area, for the whole community. So, with that, what else you want to share about volunteerism that really changed your perspective about your personal life, about your view on different cultures, and perhaps your view on ASEAN also? How has it
Or
transformed?
if you have a message for the young people out there that you want to get them into be more active in volunteerism.
I think I'd just like to conclude on my part how volunteerism is, through our story, as can be seen through our stories, a means for people to understand other people, and it gives us that space that normal tourists, that learning space that normal tourists won't have, because it's different to go to an ASEAN country and become a tourist than become a volunteer itself and actually experience what people go through and understand why the Chinese people do what they do, the Indian communities, Malay communities, and all around ASEAN. So it serves a dual purpose. One, that you experience how other people live their lives, and second, responding to that responsibility to the community. Like I said a while ago, shared problems need shared solutions. And hopefully, like we all volunteers realize how ASEAN has shared problems, and we can all work together towards coming up with the shared solutions.
Yeah, from me, I think is that get connected with on the ground with the local community itself, because that's how you know what is their problem. Get to know them, especially the older generation, which is right now we are the Gen Y, and we get more attached with the social media, and then we can help the older generation, which is promoting their association through the social media, and then that's I think just from the heart, the volunteerism, and then we can help them to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think volunteer. You may find some different view from just studying in the school or just working in the office. Is you are reaching the community itself, and you may learn many different way of life from them. You don't just you have to reach out to people and share your ideas to the community and try to help them to build a better place for your own life, and even for yourself. You may discover different perspective after you try to do the volunteerism work.
With that, thank you very much. Thanks to Regine, Norjumawati, and also Theam for sharing your views.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Salamat po.
Durian ASEAN.